morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and today's shout out goes to Brick Productions. Brick Productions was first to say first in one of my recent videos, and thus was this shout out, so congratulations. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here with a review of another neat airplane. This is the Eachine Mini Dragon Beginners 4-channel powered glider. This is an ultra light, very lightweight airplane, folks, weighing only 80 grams, yet it has a 540 millimeter wingspan, which would give it plenty of lift, folks. This should easily take to the air with that amount of wingspan or surface area, along with weighing only 80 grams. You know, this is kite weight, in other words, okay? It's powered by a brush motor. However, this is a 1020 brush motor. This is what we're seeing on a lot of the Eachine Volantic style aircraft using this 1020 motor. Very powerful motor. Should provide a lot of oomph to get it into the air. Now, I mentioned it's 4-channel, and it is true 4-channel. We have ailerons, we have throttle, we have elevator, and we have rudder control on this particular aircraft. So, you know, it is good. It should be a good trainer for beginner flyers. Now, I like these lightweight airplanes like this that aren't overpowered with nice, or that have good power. I'm sorry, but not overpowered, but with nice wing surface area. This should be a nice slow flyer, again, as I mentioned, for beginners to learn the basics of flight, along with learning how to fly a 4-channel aircraft. It is stabilized also, which makes it even more appropriate for beginner aircraft. It's fully stabilized or partially stabilized, or if you wish, you can turn off stabilization completely to try to do acrobatics with this particular aircraft. I don't know how well this is going to do acrobatics, but you know, you can potentially do loops and possibly some rolls with this airplane. But let's mention that you can adjust. Again, as I mentioned, you can fly in beginner mode, which with this switch all the way toward you. And what that does, folks, is that provides stabilization in the aircraft, so it doesn't, you know, if the wind buffs it around, the aircraft will automatically level itself, along with angle restrictions that prevent the aircraft from rolling over or pitching over. So that's for beginners, pilots, to keep them in the air, in other words. In intermediate mode, in the center position on this switch on the controller, we still have full stabilization, and we still have angle restrictions in roll, but we no longer have angle restrictions in pitch. So as a beginner, you could possibly do loops with this aircraft. Again, I don't know how well this will do loops, but we'll give it a try when we get it out into the field, because it's going to be kind of a slow flyer, I got a feeling, but we'll see. Maybe I can loop it. And finally, if you are an experienced pilot, or if you want, actually even beginners should be able to fly this one in expert mode. I'm going to try at least when we get out in the field. Put it in expert mode and try to actually fly this as an expert. If you get into trouble, this particular aircraft, I think it will automatically level itself because it does have a little bit of dihedral on the tips here. So if you let go of the stick, we'll fly it and see how stable it is, in other words, folks. I'll put it into a weird angle and then let go of the controls and see if this will automatically level itself just from the aerodynamic design of the aircraft. Okay, I mentioned the stabilization and the rates on this controller. This also has a 1-key return ability. And what that means is, folks, if you point this aircraft in a certain direction before takeoff while you're arming it, and before you arm it, actually, if you press this button here, it will remember the direction that the aircraft was pointed. So that if you fly down that direction and you press this button again, the aircraft will do a 180-degree turn and fly back down the same direction it was pointed. So that would roughly give you a return to home ability, as long as you keep the aircraft flying down that direction where it was pointed at takeoff. The controller does have some basic telemetry in it in regards to battery power from the aircraft. When the aircraft gets low battery power, the controller will start beeping in a series of 3 for a total of 9 beeps. It supposedly goes beep 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 beep, and then repeats that again, beep 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 beep. That's telling you that the battery power of the aircraft is low. Additionally, if you hear 3 beeps by themselves, beep beep beep, and then a long delay, and then another beep beep beep, that tells you that the battery power of the controller is low, so you need to change the batteries of your controller. Finally, this supposedly with this controller has a range of up to 200 meters, folks. So that's pretty good range for a little aircraft this size. So especially beginner's aircraft. Quick, let's go over the buttons on the controller real quick. I mentioned the return to home button and how to use it. I mentioned the beginner, intermediate, and expert button. I did not mention this is throttle for those beginners out there. This is changing of your rudder. This is changing of your elevator for up and down pitch of the aircraft, and this is changing of your ailerons for rolling the aircraft. Additionally, this button here is for selecting high rate. Okay, if you want it to turn a little faster or be a little more nimble, you can press this and it'll go into high rate, and it'll give you more deflections on your control surfaces to make it a little more nimble aircraft. And these buttons here are actual trim buttons for rudder, for pitch, or for elevator, I'm sorry, and for aileron trim. Finally, I did not mention this, they call this ready to fly, but it does require some assembly. Mainly, you have to insert this tail into the boom here, along with screwing on the wing, and then you have to attach all the control horns to the push rods. One thing, there's a couple things I need to mention. This tail surface that you put in, you slide into the control boom, it was really tight and hard for me to get it in there. What I had to do, folks, is I did have to take a little piece of sandpaper and lightly sand the end piece of the boom about that much distance there, just so that would slide in there, because it was just way too tight for me to get it in there. Additionally, most of the control surfaces, actually all of them, the control surfaces were way off from center. So as with all aircraft, you should check your control surfaces by turning on the aircraft and then connecting it to the controller, and then verifying that your control surfaces are indeed centered. And I haven't done that to show you how to do that. It's real quick and simple. Let me pop open the top here and plug in the battery, and like so, while we're on the ground. Oh, by the way, this does have an on-off switch, which is nice. I like that. Having an on-off switch. And then turning on the controller until you hear the beep. And then verify your control surfaces. Move them around and verify that they are moving as desired. And then when you let go of the sticks and they center the sticks, make sure that they're all nicely centered. I have not armed the aircraft yet, so the stabilization system isn't turned on yet, but you can verify in this point here that the surfaces are all centered. And do that before you actually take this out into the field to fly, or else you'll be very disappointed when you get out there and crash the aircraft because the surfaces weren't centered. Right now, let's put it into beginner mode, and then I'm going to arm it. You arm it by going up and down. Okay, it's armed now. And now these control surfaces should also move as the aircraft, gyro stabilization system activates. And these are moving to keep the aircraft centered as the aircraft is flying. Look at the tail. The tail should be going up and down. Tail surface, along with the rudder. So, stabilization system's working. All systems are fine. Let's take this out into the field. I forgot to mention what you get. You get the controller, get the aircraft. You get 1, 2, or 3 batteries, depending how many you order to purchase. These are very common batteries. I think they're 380 milliamp per hour white low-C connector batteries of what do we got here? 80 millimeters length, 20 millimeters thickness, and 20 millimeters width, 80 millimeters length, and 3.5 millimeters thickness. White low-C connector, 3.7 volt light bow battery, very common. But if you want more batteries and you want to keep flying, I recommend buying them at purchase. I think they're only $2 each if you buy them when you buy the aircraft. So that's it, folks. Let's take it out in the field and fly it. Hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, I moved over here to this baseball field. Actually, I'm going to try to take off in the snow. So I'm sure in beginner's mode, giving it throttle. No, it won't take off in the snow. Worth a try. I was just curious. Okay, I'm going to fly over here, folks. The wind seems to be calm over here. And just as I say that, there comes a nice little blast of wind. But the wind's coming from that direction, so. Cutting back on the throttle. You don't want to give this one too much throttle. It gets screwy in high throttle. But we'll fly it around like that. Lower throttle. It definitely goes up there quite easily. Yeah, remember folks, not too much throttle on this one. It gets screwy in high throttle. But with that in mind, let's come down a little lower so you can see it. There is some wind. The stabilization system's working fine. I'm not turning off the stabilization system today, folks. The reason being that wind is buffeting it. If there was none, I'd try it. I'd try some stunts. Let's try going the other direction here, doing a figure 8. Turning around. Coming back to where me, crabbing with the wind. Increasing, going downwind. Make sure you do that, because this thing is so light. Going downwind, just give it a little oomph. Okay, getting ready to go downwind, oomph. And then reduce that throttle right away. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's try taking it up higher. So yeah, Eachine's got a, it's a wobbly thing. So you put a, you could probably put a camera on this, but it's wobbly because of the, it's so light and the wind buffets it quite easily. So keep that in mind. It does buffet, get buffeted. It is a very lightweight plane at what, 80 grams? Let's bring this closer so you can see it. See it jumping around up there, okay? Going around, increasing throttle, going downwind because that wind's picking up a bit. Keep it in the air. Don't need to go that fast. And going to the left. Let's take it up higher, and then I'm going to cut back on the throttle and let's glide it. Higher still. Cutting back on the throttle. Okay, I got a battery warning indication. Every once in a while I get that on this. I'm not sure what the problem is, folks, because these are new batteries. So I don't know if it's the transmitter's a battery hog, or maybe you need to use rechargeables, but yeah. Winds get buffing it. I'm going to fly it close in. See, it's getting buffeted by the wind. But, yeah. That repeated like that means low battery of the transmitter, not the, or maybe it's a low battery of the drone. Maybe we're getting low in the, because I have been given this quite a bit of power to fly. It's powering that 1020. I haven't done very much, what do you call it? Gliding. Very little gliding at all, actually, because of the wind. But there we go. So, stabilization system's working fine and doing these tight turns. Look at those tight turns. How about the other way? Not as tight in that direction. We're gonna fly until something happens. If something happens. Hard turn. That's cool. Do that again. Boom. 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 Coming over here again. Zoom. Yeah, no stunts today, folks, because of the wind. So, yeah, I think the battery's getting low, either on the drone. I better land. It's probably the aircraft's battery warning. So landing it in this snow, kerplop. So that is the Mini Wind Dragon. This aircraft, you can fly it outdoors in the wind, but you know, the stabilization system does work in the wind, but it gets buffeted. It gets buffeted quite big time because how it's so lightweight. So you got any wind, and I do have a wind today at about 7 miles per hour. It goes up and comes down. You can probably hear it on the microphone. Indoors, this should be an excellent aircraft indoors. You know, for flying in a gym, it would be an excellent one to do. So all in all, pretty neat airplane. Good afternoon, Quadcopter 101 here on a really cool day here at Pleasant Ridge Park. It's 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Shows my dedication to this hobby. With the Mini Wind Dragon. Okay, I already have this bound to the controller, so we are ready to go. Notice I'm wearing dollar store gardener gloves here to try to keep my hands warm. They tend to give me somewhat good feel on the controls, so that's why I'm using them. Let's see if we can actually fly with them, I hope. But let's try out the Mini Wind Dragon. Hand launching it here at the park. Whoopsie. Got to give it more power than that. Hold on, we'll try that again. Get a little more oomph there to get in the air. But like I said, Quadcopter 101 channel, you see all the crashes. So there we go. Let's try it again. Wow, something's not right there. Beginner mode. Okay, folks, you saw that crash. I was not in beginner mode. I thought I was in beginner mode, but I was not. I was in, what was I, expert mode, and it stalled on me and went to the ground. Let's try it again. Double checking the surfaces here. Okay, everything looks fine. Let's give it another shot. This time, I am in beginner mode. Let's get it up there. Okay, there we go. Actually, I don't need to be going that fast. Now, this isn't the first time I've flown this, folks. This is actually the second time. And the first time I flew it, I noticed this beep, beep, beep that you hear on the controller. I think that's an issue with the controller. Okay, it's telling me that my battery is low, which is not true. That is a freshly charged battery in the drone, and these are fresh batteries in the controller. So, and I don't think I'm the only one experiencing this problem with the controller beeping, telling you that it's got low battery. So if you get this, there might be an issue there with the controller in that it gives you a low battery indication. And the way I got out of it before the last time was I simply rebound the airplane, and let's see if that'll fix it. But I rebound the airplane to the controller, and that seemed to go away the last time I flew this. Like I said, this is the second time I flew it. Last time I flew it was a real windy day. Let's land this. Oh man, it glides nicely. And reconnect it to the controller, okay? And see if that fixes the problem. And to do that, again, this has an on-off switch, so we'll turn it off. Then turn it back on. Put it on the ground. Turn the controller on. Hear the beep. Checking our surfaces. Everything looks good, and we'll launch it again. Notice the beeping stopped. Okay, I got a wind coming from that direction right now, a little breeze. So we'll launch it into the wind. And you know what, folks? When I connected that, I was somewhat nose down tilt. I'm having to give it a little bit of upward elevator here. Oh, there we go. It seems to correct itself there. Okay, let's try to fly closer so you can see it. It does glide very nicely. Now, I mentioned the other day that I flew this the other day, and it was really breezy. So one thing I learned about this is this drone or airplane really can be buffeted in the wind, folks, even with the stabilization system on. And it's because it's a really, really lightweight plane. Very lightweight plane. So, you know, this is mainly meant, I guess, for flying in a gymnasium, indoor flying, or on a low wind day. Right now, it's not a low wind day. It's not as bad as the other day, but even so, it's really not a low wind day. But notice the beeping has stopped. So again, that seems to be an issue with this controller. I'm going to fly some figure eights around us. Just figure eights around the area. Now it's really lightweight plane. This would be a good glider on a low wind day. Again, today's not a low wind day, unfortunately. Some folks have thought about adding a camera onto this, and that would add weight, and that actually would be a good thing, to tell you the truth, I think, for this particular airplane, because I think it is so light that it's too light, in my opinion, for outdoor flying. Okay, some weight added to it would probably improve its flight performance outdoors. Will make it fly faster, but I think, again, yeah, some weight is probably needed. And that'd be a nice way to add weight, is to just simply put on an all-in-one camera on this thing to add that weight. I gotta say that my dollar store gardening gloves are working nicely in this 20-degree weather. I just flew the Mini Falcon and my fingers are almost frostbit. But right now they feel fine with these gloves on. So for winter flying, I highly recommend you go to your local Dollar Tree and get those gardener gloves while they're there. See the ones that I got on? These gray ones. They come in multiple colors. They got rubber on the front and fabric on the back. And you can feel the sticks real nicely with it. You can actually fly in the winter with these things. And again, it's 20 degrees and my fingers are not frozen yet. Let's see if I can get this real close. I'm getting dizzy. So yeah, again, that beeping has gone away, as you see here. So again, if you have that problem with the beeping, just turn off the drone or the aircraft and rebind it to turn off the controller and then rebind it. And that seems to correct it for some unknown reason. That telemetry beep, low battery telemetry beep. That wind's picking up, folks. It's flying in it. It couldn't fly in it the other day. It was too breezy, but it's doing it. I'm not setting it up high because if I do, you're not going to be able to see it. But then again, I want to test its gliding ability. So here we go. Let's go up high. And we'll cut back on the throttle and just glide it. Glide it by us. There's a glider. Going back up again and around. Now, by flying it that way, going up and then putting it in glide, you can prolong your flight time, okay? The way I've been flying it here is whoa, let's give it a little throttle. By using more glide, you can get more flight time out of it. I got a feeling that the flight time today is going to be kind of short because of the temperature and also how much throttle I've been giving it. Went a little bit too fast for it. But again, I'm trying to fight this wind today. Not flying too badly. So yeah, this is an excellent beginner's plane on a low wind day. See that wind hit that thing? So there we go. There's our throttle, or we're losing power too at the same time. And there goes that wind. So now I believe it. Okay, so that's the flight of the Mini Wing Dragon. Actually, pretty good beginner's plane. A little bit difficult to put together, though. I showed you the issue that I had there with the tail. Just sand it down a little bit, just a little, lightly sand it with very fine sandpaper, or actually I used my wife's emery board to do that until that goes in more easily. So this is Quadcopter 101. Hope you enjoyed the flight of the Mini Wing Dragon. Quadcopter 101, signing out. Hi, Quadcopter 101 here again. Hey, if you want to get your own shout out in one of my future videos, make sure you subscribe to my channel. It's real simple. Just go to my channel page and click on that subscribe. And also make sure to click that bell button right next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified when I release a brand new video immediately and give you a chance to get that first shout out. So give it a try, folks.